Hello, and welcome to the next episode of the Startup Planner. Today, we're going to be talking about mentorship or advisors and what that can do to your business, what it can do for you personally, how it can help you make things faster and get started and really address some of the challenges that you're going to face as you go through a startup. I'm John Duran, and welcome to the next episode of the Startup Planner.
And I'm Bruce McFarlane. And before we get into this, just remember that we are not lawyers. We don't even play one on TV, but we are a couple of guys who have been through this a number of times and have the scars to show it. So we hope to be able to provide some value in here so that you can learn from some of the lessons that some of us have made already. So let's get into it.
I cannot teach him. The boy has no patience.
He will learn patience.
So again, today's episode is going to be about mentorship. Entrepreneurial mentorship, to be specific. And I looked up the definition of what a mentor is, and I'm going to read that to you because it's kind of an interesting way to start our episode here. But a mentor is a person who shares their experiences to provide the guidance, support, and feedback you need to succeed, in this case, in your startup. Often their experiences are from the same path you are embarking on, and they're there to advise you on what has worked for them and the results of things that they've done. So in this episode, we're going to be looking more into the concept of mentorship. There's a lot of books out there on the internet about that concept. A lot of books about how to find a mentor, what to expect of a mentor, how to be a mentor. So let's get into that today a little bit, Drews. Let's talk about, first off, what is the value of having a mentor? And in all the experiences I've had, every one of the leaders I've ever worked with have found a mentor in their lives, someone that could help them through the startup. And I suspect you probably have had a lot of the similar experiences. So, what are some of the things value-wise that you've gotten and experienced out of mentorship?
So I would say the first thing that I would bring into call is the fact that when you go through whatever the process is that you go to through education and all the rest of it to get into the field that you're trying to get to, that never gives you the type of real world information that you would actually need in order to be able to be a success. They'll give you some of the bare minimum. They often teach you how to learn, how to teach yourself, etc. But the actual real world examples of what you're going to end up facing never ends up coming from a classroom. It never ends up really coming from a textbook. Sometimes a lot of that information is going to end up being very situational. So having somebody who's actually been through the process and can identify things and somebody that'll just be a sounding board, I think more than anything else, is going to help you a lot. As I say, a lot of learning ends up coming from going through something, doing something, and falling down, skinning your knee, getting back up, brushing yourself off. If you can find somebody who's actually been through the process and kind of advise you to, like there's a problem over there that you can avoid rather than to actually have to learn by skinning your knee the first time, that ends up being worth its weight in gold. And if you can find that person who's going to be able to take you through and help you, it's really you can't put a dollar figure on that.
In my experience too, having been through a number of startups, what's interesting is just because someone has a great idea and the gumption to go start a company doesn't necessarily mean that they're starting that company with the leadership skills they need. So having a mentor or an advisor also gives them that opportunity to bounce ideas off of someone and to learn kind of on the job training in some ways when they've got a person they can truly trust. And I think that's an important aspect of a mentor too. We'll talk a moment in what to look for in a mentor, but if you trust this person, then you can actually discuss with them the challenges and the things that are plaguing your company or your startup or your organization. Gives you a chance to really talk through that with someone who can offer some real world advice. And if you've chosen your mentor correctly, chances are good they've been through it. There's very few things that you're going to struggle with in a business that someone hasn't already been through. And hopefully your mentor or advisor can guide you through that process.
Yeah, and also, like I can't express how important it is, for somebody who's going through and doing a startup or doing some sort of a new entrepreneurial venture, how important your network ends up being. The network is going to be able to open up doors, are going to be able to expand, put you into contact, and this can end up helping you from a standpoint of hiring to obtaining funding, et cetera. Even as I said, advising. So that person has potentially gone through this a number of times. They have a I hate to use this because I know that I'm going to get teased by John here, but somebody who has a big thick Rolodex is going to be incredibly valuable, and be able to make the introductions to you that might make or break your organization.
Okay, I'm definitely sending you a new Rolodex. Okay, so when looking for a mentor, I want to share that in my personal experience, I've had several mentors, and in some cases, I've had more than one at a time. Usually, I have a mentor that's helping me with the leadership goals. So when I'm looking for that kind of person, I'm searching for someone who's been in a similar role, who has a lot of the experience that I'm looking to gain. But what's also interesting is I've also found at times when I get into a particular unique position, or maybe I have a new project I need to go after, I find someone who can mentor me in those particular aspects. So there's a lot of reasons that you may look for a mentor, but I think the most important is to start really thinking about who is the right person. As Drew said, going through your network to look for that person. But it's really, really important. If you're going to have a mentor, you have to trust this person, because chances are, if you're going to be an advisor mentor kind of relationship, you're going to be sharing some pretty intimate details about the business that you're trying to start, some things that you really want to keep only on your most inner circle.
Absolutely, and there's something to be said also for just you know timing as you're going through a new startup. Timing is everything, like making sure. And unfortunately, if you're doing this for the first time, there's a degree of indecision that ends up going with every single one of those choices. So having somebody that you trust, that you can bounce ideas off of, and that can either validate your ideas really quickly, or they can sort of help you avoid potential mistakes as well, is incredibly valuable. But as we're going through this, and you brought up a very important point regarding trust, John. What do you think? When you're out there looking for a mentor, what do you look for? How do you start that process?
That's a great question. I would say really the first and foremost is I want someone that's going to really kind of mesh well with my personal culture. I don't want someone who's going to be really brash and really abrasive, because at some point that's going to erode the trust or the relationship we have. It's going to make it difficult for me to share things with him. And it's also going to make it difficult for me to really accept what I'm hearing. So I would say some
What do you mean by that?
personalities. Well, if they're constantly being abrasive, maybe even a little harsh in the way they deliver information, at first they're your mentor, so you're going to accept it. But over time, that can get frustrating, and it can get to a point where maybe you just stop listening. So I think, some of the aspects that are really important, you want someone who has a respectful attitude, someone who's not just been there, but they're genuinely hopeful and excited about what you're going through. And that they have what I would say almost like a friendly level of invested interest in ensuring your success. So they want to go through it with you. The second thing would be someone who really is a good listener. I think it's really important that you have a mentor who's going to listen to you and not make snap decisions the moment you start trying to share an idea. They need to understand what you're going through, because in many cases, and we haven't really talked about this at length, but the process of starting your own company is a journey. And at every step and every stage in the journey, you're having different things, different experiences, different even emotions in some cases. So, having someone that can listen and be respectful in that process, can truly process what they're hearing, and then give genuine, honest, constructive feedback is the most valuable thing you could find.
So, how do you go about finding that person?
If you're currently, chances are, if you're starting a company, you probably currently have a job. And in many cases, you can actually look around inside the company you're already at, because many companies will have mentorship programs. Maybe that's not the person that you will be your mentor long term in your new organization, but they might be able to help you with some leadership skills and just some general basic business mentorship, some things like that. Again, maybe more of a specialized mentor. Checking your personal network is a great way. LinkedIn, a lot of the social media tools we have out there, but your professional network is typically full of people that you would be amazed at the experiences that they share and that they have. And if you talk around a little bit, kind of share of what you're trying to do with some of these folks, you'll find that many of them are more than happy to help guide you on that path. There's lots and lots of online resources as well. There's meetups dedicated to mentorship out there. There's a lot of online forums and communities. I don't know that I would recommend this, but there's, depending upon the level, there's even mentorship services. And I feel like that probably removes the personal nature out of it. So the trust is not going to be
Yeah.
quite the same, but lots and lots of good tools out there. At the end of the day, though, just talk to people. Talk to the people that you trust and respect, that you know in business, that have done things that you look to. And if they're not your mentor, chances are they can guide you to the right person. How about yourself, Drews?
Well, there's that old philosophy that when the student is ready, the teacher will arrive. And doing anything like this, it's all a matter of luck, and the person who ends up being successful is the person who makes the most opportunities for himself to be lucky. So you have to be out there. You have to be open to who these people are. So like you need to expand your network. You need to go out and put yourself into positions where you are around other people who are trying to go through this journey as well. And given that, if you're sort of open to it, you're going to find the people around you. Anybody who's gone through this has had a mentor themselves, and most of the time they are happy to turn around and return the favor. It is that give and take. You get you end up becoming successful because you have had these people who have been able to be really good advisors to you. And then once you've gone through it, you don't want to keep that information to yourself. You end up wanting to become a mentor yourself. So, you know, you might be looking for a mentor today. 10 years from now, you'll be that same person. So that ends up, it's the cycle of the way that these things end up working.
Yeah, I can't overemphasize what you just said, Drews. If there's anything I would recommend of anyone listening to this podcast is when you reach that point, remember to pay it forward. Remember to do the things that we've just described. Be a respectful listener, understand and share your guidance, and genuinely invest yourself into the success of someone else, because every new business that gets started moves our whole country forward, and the whole industry. So again, pay it forward.
Yeah. And to a degree, that's kind of what this podcast is all about. We are trying to build a community where people who are trying to go through this journey can all get together. So, if you haven't done so already, like and subscribe. And we'd love to see your comments. We'd love to see your questions. We'd love to see the comment section of this video become a place where you might find that next mentor. So, please feel free we'll try to answer as many questions as we can, down below. But please engage. We'd love to hear from you.
We truly hope that you're enjoying these as much as Drews and I are enjoying just putting these together, sharing some of this information about the challenges and the past experiences we've had with startups is, I think, part of what drives us day to day. So thanks again for joining us on the Startup Lantern. We look forward to seeing you on the next episode.